What's cool now, but probably won't be in 5 years? Instagram is going to be an online shopping mall, far removed from the cool microblogging site it used to be. It's kinda crazy how obvious it is. Like I try to go on Instagram and within 5 posts it's already all ads. Galaxy print is probably going to go the way of the bowling alley carpet patterns we used to wear on our clothes in the 90s. It'll come back ironically in 10 years. As an astronomy teacher who has been delighted by this trend and buying a couple things in that print, I hope I can still find it 5 years from now. I freaking love it. You being an astronomy teacher also reminded me of this wrapping paper we got at work. It's a night sky but it's full of constellations shaped like dinosaurs. I want to put it up as wallpaper. I can't wait to see a ton of people walking around looking like they're wearing bus seat covers. I can't wait to see Galaxy print on bus seat covers. I thought Galaxy print already was an ironic and kitschy pattern. Deaneries and Khaleesi as girls' names. I work with babies and I see newborns named Renesmee more often than you'd think, so I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. Is this really a thing? Probably not as popular as Arya and Sansa, but there are a few thousand little girls whose parents may be considering a name change. Probably most popular YouTubers as of now. That's something I've noticed. The shelf life of YouTube popularity seems to be shorter than mainstream pop star popularity. To stay popular on YouTube you have to generate content. That's a lot of pressure to maintain quality and volume. I think it depends entirely on the type of content. Vlog lifestyle YouTubers are a dime a dozen and tend to burn out quickly, but there are plenty of creators who have careers almost as old as the platform itself. I think the key is to have a focus on a particular topic or subject area, things like food cooking, history, trivia, tech, gaming, music, etc., and to either develop a style that's so distinct it can be readily parodied, or to be aware of trends but not beholden to them. I thought Ray William Johnson and Smosh would rule for the next 10 years in 2011. You might be right. Smosh kinda got screwed. When they were big, YouTube didn't really have ads and didn't pay very well, so Smosh signed a contract with a like management company that eventually went belly up. Thankfully Rhett and Link saved Smosh by purchasing the rights and making them a part of their brand Mythical, so they now film at the same studio as GMM. Ray cashed out, though. He could have had a few more years, but I think he got bought out for that retire before 30 money. Smosh, now there's a name I haven't heard in a long time. It's a miracle PewDiePie and Markiplier have survived as long as they have. I can't see PewDiePie remaining big until he decides to turn off the camera and retire. Mark genuinely seems like a cool dude who just wants to create stuff. He's branching more and more into doing big projects beyond just gaming. I feel like he'll stick around until he calls it quits or his thinly veiled masochism finally does him in. Brazilian butt lifts. I feel like it will not age well. A lot of plastic surgeries collapse over time or have complications as it degrades. Or the swollen lips. Actually, I don't even know when that started or if it's actually cool because it looks gross. Was that trendy before Kardashian? Life hacks. Since they have taken over YouTube, it just will be bland after amount of time because a lot of it is just BS and many just don't work. Now I've seen so many stupid harmful things they are doing, like put your tinfoil in a bowl and put it in a microwave to make us mothball. Yay, like that crap. Not just the life hacks, but also the DIYs and instructional videos. A lot of them just seem to be people desperate to get clicks to get paid. If that's even still a thing. I got on YT the other day because I was trying to figure out a problem with some LED lighting. I for real saw a video a guy posted that boiled down to get a good light bulb and switch it out. See if that works. Excuse me, did you just post a video telling me how to change a light bulb? I want that 3 minutes of my life back. The bowl cut. For some reason it came back in South Houston. Looks ridiculous. Asian kids everywhere. Lol. No, seriously. The bowl cut is a standard hairstyle that a lot of Asian kids tend to have, including myself when I was young. Future trunks rocked it just fine. Current plastic surgery trends to meet the current IG standards. I fear for a lot of people who have had BBLs and facial surgery that the look will become outdated and permanently associated with late 2010s and early 2020s. Kind of how like there are plastic surgery trends associated with the 90s 2000s. What trends associated with the 90s 2000s? Lots of women had skinny eyebrows tattooed on their faces, tattoo lip liner, Overly processed bleached hair and oddly large implants. Those things are pretty tough to reverse. I'm curious about this as well. I can't think of anything aside from the giant balloon boobs. Maybe Lil Kim Janet Jackson-esque nose jobs? Hopefully Pokemon cards, so I can finally afford to buy them again. Fake vents in cars. If they were ever cool in the first place, they never have been cool. In fact, reviewers hate them and that's what they point out in reviews. Corporations trying to be weird and relatable on Twitter. Wish it would die out now. Our Twitter, where people try to be brands and brands try to be people. That should be the quote of the year. Needs to hang on a wall somewhere. Silence brand. YouTube prank videos. Well, some YouTube videos in general. I think prank vids are already done for. Hopefully. Probably not going to happen. But I really wish influencers won't be cool anymore. It is just how we brand the famous. The Kardashian family were still influencers before the word. Remember Paris Hilton having her own thing? That was well before we even thought to define influencer culture. It just is rough now because it seems slightly attainable by the average Joe. Basically they're just socialites. Yeah, been around for ages. It will become more subtle again most likely, or evolve into them becoming presenters and such, I think. Stupid vids on it, like the ones where they think having their fourth kid matters to the world and exploit the kid on day one of its life all while being fake af. This. Go on the trending list and you'll see this. If you're selecting from the trending list then you're already getting the worst that it has to offer. Gotta cultivate your algorithms. Every click takes you closer or further away from the gold. Whatever that may be for you. Humongous butt injections. We'll just cycle back to humongous breast implants. A. Titties. A-N titties. A titties titties. A-N titties. OMG yes. When I see pics of Kim Kardashian it literally looks like a human wearing saddle badges. Yes, I know saddlebags are a pejorative term for bad thighs but she is something else. I read a comment elsewhere that said she was built like a centaur and it's all I think of when I see or hear about her. The first time I saw her in person, I was at a makeup masterclass. I audibly gasped. I've never seen such strange proportions and it's so much more pronounced in person. A lot of the stuff I see people doing on TikTok seems like the kinda thing you'd be embarrassed about in a few years. Honestly, I am embarrassed about pretty much everything I did at that age. I remember trying to make jackass videos as a kid. I'm just glad my exploits were long ago enough that there isn't a digital record of it lol. I genuinely feel bad for kids these days. They're no dumber than any of us were at that age. But at least it was near impossible for us to go viral for it. Yes, we had to make America's funniest home video for anybody across the state to know. Those lip sync while pointing at words videos gives me that same creepy crawly cringe feeling that I got in high school watching two people go on huge personal FB fights, or watching my parents' generation get hip to Facebook and grossly overshare to kick it off, just like we did as middle schoolers. Hip to Facebook. The phrase hip to Facebook seems so funny to me now, as a 34-year-old who was a college freshman when Facebook came out. Hearing you talk about FB in middle school is blowing my mind. I can't believe it's been around this long. My toddler willingly giving me kisses. Father on 13 and 11 yo. Boys here, if frequent physical affection is a normal part of your dynamic now, that hopefully won't change too much. In front of their friends my existence is a horrifying embarrassment. At home I get hug attacks all the time. Late 20s guy here and I can confirm. My dad was always affectionate towards my brother and I'd say I dared to hug my dad in front of my friends who knew me, but in public we'd both opt for a fist bump. When I was 18-19 my dad told me he was happy that I still hugged him, which reminded me that I've ever only seen him shake his own father's hand. Broke my heart, and I internally vowed to give him bear hugs for the rest of our lives. I love my dad, and it's important to me that he knows it. Thank you for giving me hope. As a 16-yo don't lose this. It becomes weird to initiate it and accept it once it dwindles away for more than a few months, then it just never comes back. Or funny but sad. Hopefully the stupid hacks that people are coming up with. That's not a hack. Stfu. One of them was showing how you can take the seeds out of a tomato, plant them and it will make more tomatoes. That's literally gardening. Farming is a life hack now. I mean, gardening is a life hack. To pre-agriculture humans. Can't stand that term. When did tips become hacks? When clickbait was invented, I think. Step 1. Get some cement. Step 2. Find an old refrigerator box. Life hack. Use 2 cups of water for every cup of rice. That's not a hack. That's just how you cook rice. Life hack. When opening doors, if you turn the knob first, far less force is required. Lip injections and butt implants. They look cartoonish. Subscribing to multiple streaming platforms. Isn't that why cable doesn't exist anymore? Cable 2.0. I have always said this is what's gonna happen. Streaming will continue becoming more and more massive, until they all start buying each other out, leaving us with the next cable. But it's through the internet instead of cable. While I agree, right now subscribing to Netflix, Hulu, and Disney Plus is still cheaper than a normal cable bundle that would show me fewer of the things I want to see, and not whenever I want to see them. Cable TV is ridiculously expensive. Hell, when I cancelled DirecTV 5 years ago my bill was $140. You can do YahTV, Netflix, Disney Plus, and HBO Max and still save $40. Putting images everywhere, especially if you're a brand trying to do buddy marketing. I received a resume that was written like that. I write scientific papers like this. Don't be shy. Share with us. Teenage boys getting the perm undercut combo. Broccoli boy cut. Every guy at my high school had that cut. I hated it. And every girl loved it for some reason. That was last year. During my senior year. Does every HS boy have this cut? Seems like it. Thank Patrick Mahomes. I didn't even realize this was a thing. I'm in my late 20s, naturally curly hair, and I've been shaving the back and sides because of convenience. Now I find out I'm being ridiculed along with people 10 plus years younger. Me too lol. I don't know what a good alternative haircut would be though. Teenage boys are getting perms. Can you show me a photo or something? Here. The beer in my fridge. Oh yes. I read that drinking a beer shortens your lifespan by 9 minutes. According to my calculations I died sometime in 1829. 5-day work week. That's never been cool. We just accept it. Let's start by touching on the 7-day week. Thousands of years ago, the Babylonians believed 7 planets existed. To honor that, they created the 7-day week. Back then, working all 7 days was thought to increase productivity. By the summer of 1886, workers were fed up with the status quo. No surprise their Sunday funday can't be a thing if you have to work. The US Federation of Organized Trades and Labor Unions called for 8-hour workdays, and when that deadline wasn't met, protesters took to the streets. What started as peaceful demonstrations on the streets of Chicago turned into violent rallies, leaving 7 police officers and 4 workers dead. Those rallies put the 8-hour day, 40-hour work week issue on the map both nationally and internationally. In 1916, the feds passed an act which required an 8-hour day and OT. Despite the new rule, plenty of workers were still unprotected. In 1919, 4 million workers decided they were fed up and went on strike. That was 20% of the industrial labor force at the time. About 19 years later, President FDR signed the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938, creating the right to minimum wage and OT. Now things are starting to sound familiar. Roosevelt wasn't the first person to institute the 5-day work week in the US, though. The Ford Motor Company is well known for scaling back from 48 hours per week to 40 in 1914, thanks to Henry Ford, and even earlier, 1908 to be exact. A New England cotton mill set up the same schedule, allowing its Jewish workers to observe Sabbath on Saturday and Christian workers their day on Sunday. Economist John Maynard Keynes predicted in 1928 that technological advancement would bring the work week down to 15 hours within 100 years. Looks like we still have about 10 years to get there. 5-day work week should be gone by now. Hopefully Facebook. I never thought it would kill MySpace, and MySpace reminds me of better times when I think of how shitty Facebook handled the last 4 years. Yay F Facebook. MySpace was hilarious. Hey, here are 8 people I like better than you. Enjoy this Hawthorne Heights song on repeat. Maybe Ohio really is for lovers. You mean 7 people and Tom. Facebook stopped to be cool like half a decade ago. I bet their average user will just be older and older, and it will eventually sink in half irrelevance. Facebook won't die anytime soon. You have boomers that won't want to learn a new platform, people that feel obligated to keep it in case they want to get in touch with someone they haven't spoken to in 6 years. Facebook's other properties like Instagram and WhatsApp, but yeah, in 2021 it's seen more as a toxic utility rather than a website people want to be in. Baldazzling your testicles. VF, is that cool now? It better be. Overly processed Instagram photos, especially in the context of makeup and skincare. But people have been doing this since the MySpace era, a lot longer than that. Models have been airbrushed and touched up as long as there has been photography. I remember soft focus glamour shots being a thing in the 90s. The Kardashians. We said that 10 years ago as well. I thought the same thing 5 years ago. Facebook. Kids don't use that because it sucks. Millennials are leaving in droves. Everything Supreme. The Shtai print text hoodies. The overpriced hats and $100 shirts, all of it. They've recently been purchased by VF Corporation, the company that owns North Face, Vans, Timberlands, and JanSport, so they're likely not going anywhere. EVs. In 5 years, it'll just be a commonplace thing. It won't be every car on the road, or every purchase, but already the shock of "oh look, it's a Tesla" is fading out. LMAO. Out of context, I was like, what is competitive became and considered cool now, before realizing that meant electric vehicles not effort values. People posting pictures of a PS5 they just bought and expecting the rest of us to care, and switches on our gaming. My wife's a keeper. The wife DM. My wife's boyfriend bought me this. Lol, I don't understand posting the consoles, unless you've done a custom paint job or something. Who TF cares? They're all identical. Funko Pops. They're the Beanie Babies of the 20s. I saw those when they first came out. I am a collector of stuff, and I knew on first sight that if I bought one, I would end up with 1,000 and nowhere to put them. So I never bought a single one, and I'm glad of the saved space. They both even had a Princess D one. Zoom calls. I don't wanna go back to the office, but I can't take 5 more years of these. As much as I don't like video conferencing, it was way better than just phone conferencing. People always talking over everyone since you don't see the person's facial cue. Jokes on you. Still happens in video conference calls at my company because we're all nerds and hate showing our face if we don't have to. As much as I don't like video conferencing, I hate in-person meetings and the time it takes to get to them more. RTX 3080. Lip Fears. GTA V. Hopefully by that point we'll actually have GTA 6. Did you say another GTA Online DLC? First GTA V and now RDR2. It sucks that Rockstar has completely given up on single player DLC. I wish they would at least announce that they're not doing it anymore so that we don't spend months halfway anticipating it. GTA V is going to be a launch title on the PlayStation 7 at this point. The skyrocket hype I had during E3, or Sony's version of it when they were showing off upcoming games that would be on PS5. The effing Rockstar logo showed up and I was like, this is effing it. We're getting GTA 6. And the train wreck my hype immediately ran into when I saw Michael and the guys from GTA 5 because it was just a next gen upgrade for GTA V.